got a 1200 on my SATs, 580 in math, 620 in verbal. That's it. My mom insisted we pay the $13 via phone to hear the results as soon as they came out, and I remember sitting there, stunned in silence, unable to convey to my mother what the mechanical voice on the other line had just told me. Though it's a fairly decent score, I suddenly felt very impoverished in the intelligence department. I mean, here I was, the commotion of my past English teachers, fairly well off in math, and yet the girl from my advanced biology class who took the SATs with a hangover got a higher score than me. And doesn't that beat it all? Now I'm sure at this point I could tell you how bad Einstein was at math, how Mozart was considered inept at the violin. I could go on about genius after genius that defies standardized tests and grades, but I'm not part of that category either. I have never composed anything more than gibberish on any instrument, and sitting about contemplating something as complicated as the theory of relativity sadly has never entered my mind. I have hardly proved myself genius at all. I mean, one time when I was little, I convinced my sister, and my sister convinced me that pennies were worth more than quarters. And she kept up this charade throughout most of my young, naive life. Now, armed with my lifetime supply of pennies, I can only hear that voice saying 1200 over and over. It's like it's stamped on my forehead for everyone to see. 1200. Just another person who failed to meet their own expectations. Yet, now that I think about it, the SATs were never part of my standards. My potential was. All throughout my life, I have believed in my individual theory of potential energy. Just as the term in science refers to energy that has the possibility to do work, my potential energy possesses the ability to do or become something. For example, in the 4th grade, when I wanted more than anything to become a poet, there was no boundary between me and good old T.S. Eliot. Well, okay, his poems about cats were a little bit better, but to me, there were no limits, no boundaries. There I was, dwelling in the art of possibility, never looking down into the earth until 1200 gave me a hefty little shove off the cloud I was on. I guess it's a good thing I was never bound for the Ivy Leagues, but still, it stings to know it will hinder my chances for scholarships. I know that there is more to me than this, more than GPA, class rank, SATs, but what? What am I to say? That I have measured out my life in coffee spoons? Should I go on about my creativity, my compassion, my love of wordplay? How about 4 years belaboring at the German language? I want to say, I am intelligent. I can't prove it, but somehow I am. Of course, that's rather egotistical of me, and I'm sure the readers of my applications would frown upon it. It is hard for me to prove what I have not yet proved to myself, and it is worse still to be cast aside as one incapable of proving it. So, how can I properly measure the little gray blobs inside my head for all to behold?